A lot of people tell me that there are a lot of journeys, and then, because when I'm at a forum like this, I have to answer questions, I have to cook up some shit. But in trying to create fiction about why I do what I do, sometimes I stumble across the fact also. And then I think that this journey or this theme of self-discovery, if so many of my characters are going through it, I feel that maybe I am also interested in it. Personally, I don't know whether I am seeking answers, but I must be, because that becomes a common theme in many of my films. And I don't want to change something which is organically coming to me, so I'll just keep going on in that direction. I feel that it is intangible, but you can reach this intangible not by an outward mathematical calculation, but by an insight into yourself. And to see that the service or the story that you're writing, the film that you're trying to make, is it really a piece of yourself? Is it something authentic? Is it something unique? And is it something that you have and you value within yourself and that you can give to others? I feel if that is the case, then there is a certain power that is unleashed to the process, and people, you yourself start to follow that story or that dream with greater ferocity, and other people also join in with greater enthusiasm, and then you maybe are walking towards something that might be successful because it might resonate with the audience. If it does not resonate with you, if it does not resonate with the people that you're working with, the first circle that forms around you, it has almost zero chances of resonating with the audience. So it's almost like Kabir says that you have to look inward if you want to search for God. In this case, the audience is the God, or I think the service that you do for it is the God. As I'm saying, you have to focus to what you think is good and authentic, and usually, if you are interested in it, other people will also be interested in it. But you should also listen. So, as much as one believes that filmmaker makes the movie, it's actually the whole community or the whole unit of hundreds and hundreds of people that make the movie together, and it's a very collaborative process. At no point of time, or very few times, am I alone in the process of filmmaking. And one must listen. The most important thing, I guess, for a director to do is to listen, because he is also in front of so many talented people, and for them to flow into the work that the director is doing, the director must listen. And so there will be people that are producers and distributors, and they will be talking about the financial rewards of the film, etc. And the director or the storyteller can see how to help them achieve their ends, because that will also help the filmmaker, because every filmmaker wants their films to be popular. Ultimately, financial reward will be more if the film is more popular. A lot of times in life, what happens is that you can speak the superficial language, you can talk about here and now, but maybe something is happening in your heart, in your mind, which you cannot express, but which is more important than what conversation is happening. And that is what becomes music. The third element, what's happening in your heart, what is happening in the atmosphere, what is the real truth, that kind of thing. And music is a very important thing for Indian cinema, because I feel that Indian people are very philosophical, and they will never be satisfied if the film is philosophically lacking. Unlike any other country, I feel, even if the film is just a comedy or just an action thriller, one will find that as compared to other cinema in the world, every Indian film will have an ounce of philosophy, which is very authentic. We don't feel satisfied without it. So, in order to bring a certain philosophical status to the film, songs play a big part. You will see that very popular songs from Indian films Firstly, they outlast the film itself. Songs live longer than films. Secondly, they talk about very philosophical things. You know, the very, very popular romantic films or action films also will have songs that are so philosophical. I feel that the unique selling point of India, apart from variety, is philosophy, and songs help that there. And even while working and making the songs is very, very thrilling. I feel that as a film director, the work that I enjoy the most is the making of and then the shooting of music.
And taking off that, so whether it's actually creating the songs or directing a film or writing a script or producing, what's the role that you identify with the most?
I look at myself as a director, basically, which means that I'm that kid in class that used to call my friends and say that एक नाटक करना है टीचर्स डे के लिए and तू chemistry teacher बन जा, तू maths teacher बन जा. This is you can say this, then you can say this, and then get them together and have the play for the class. So I was the kid that did that, and I'm still the kid that is doing that. So I identify most as a director. There are a few things that hold the whole country together. You know, I feel that cinema has the potential to be one of them. It is something which is entertaining. It is something that nobody resents. It is not, hopefully, it is not boring. And if it does better and better, I think it can become one of the unifying fabrics of the Indian community or the Indian society. And that will be very important for India at 2047. Um, so, for that. Secondly, a sense of uniformity can be brought by popular cinema, I feel. Thirdly, I feel that as we will make better products and better services, better deals, and we are already shining globally, the soft power, the things that the whole world can imbibe and aspire towards, that can be provided by cinema. And I'll take a moment over here to talk, let's say, about American cinema. And while America was progressing in the world between the world wars, and to an extent, then many decades later, it established itself as the world leader. Could it have happened without American cinema? Could it have happened without people trying to be like American movie stars, trying to sing like American pop stars, trying to buy the goods that were seen like chocolates and like cereals and things that have been shown in American movies have become household items in the farthest, remotest corners of the world. And as we are now realizing, it's not because of great health benefits. It is the soft power of movies that have made the whole world desire those products, desire those services, that way of talking, that language, those clothes, fashion, everything, right? So I feel that there is everything in India to look up to. I feel there is everything in India for the world to aspire towards. But it can only be brought together or it can be brought to the fore by popular Indian cinema going abroad. And also, not only abroad, but India in itself is such a huge market. To be internally popular. When we are looking for role models, let's look at ourselves. Let's look at what we have. And also, there's one big thing. Sometimes I fear that as we get more and more into media, as we get more and more isolated, as we get more and more convinced that everything that we see in our bubbles is the absolute and the only reality. Cinema can take you beyond that. Cinema can take a person who lives in Bombay and show him or her what happens in a village outside in somewhere in Tamil Nadu. Okay, they can and present the opportunities and the width and expanse of India. They say in the globe of the world, they feel New York is the capital of their country. They have all kinds of things. You don't know the spelling, of their own cities and things like that. I don't think. I mean, it just sounds that this should not happen in India. So for Indians to know India is also very important, which cinema can do. So I think cinema apart and the key thing is entertainment. If I knock at your door and say that I'm your enemy, you will not let me in. But if I knock at your door and say, hey, I'm your friend, I've come to tell you a story or to entertain you, you will open the door. So cinema can be that friend. Well, firstly, to make, we were having this discussion about what is authentic to a filmmaker. We have to see what is authentic to Indian cinema. And for filmmakers like myself to make things that are authentic to me and to the country, and to present it to the country and the world with a certain positive messaging that the world is watching. And while we are concerned about our individual successes, let's also be concerned about the success of the entire society and the polity that is India. Because individual success can only be limited. When the whole nation moves forward, everybody benefits. So to be collaborative of that is very important, I feel.
वे गीत from जब भी मैं मीरा एक लव आजकल तारा and तमाशा. So how do you approach writing women so authentically?
I think it comes from fascination. Sometimes I feel that since I didn't have a sister, since I've grown up in a very strictly boys kind of an atmosphere, I was in a boys' school and all of that for a long time in my life. I was always looking at women with a lot of fascination. The other reason is that the women that I have met in my life, whether my mother, sisters, cousin, and everybody, they have been very interesting and intelligent, and also I feel that they were very exciting to me.
Yeah.
By comparison, I felt that men were a bit unidimensional, but yeah, women always had this layer of. I always felt that women are smarter, and I guess that's what comes across in my movies because women are more exciting. They can lie, and they can complain, in a way, they can do something wrong in a way that the guilt passes on to the watcher. And somebody can be convinced that it is their mistake, while the mistake could be hers. So, as a man, I was firstly trying to not be the victim of that. And secondly, I thought this is an interesting thing to bring to movies. Let's expose them. Unfortunately, society, the whole world, has not been, I'd say, completely balanced in terms of gender. Indian society has also not been. We are walking towards a place of greater gender equality. We are still not there. So, since women have had to go through greater pressures, greater repression, greater injustices, they have had to become smarter. And that is why they are more fascinating in cinema.
Absolutely. Or character that has left a lasting emotional impact on you personally.
This is the kind of question of which the answer changes each time it is asked. Right now, when you mentioned this, I suddenly thought Jordan flashed in my mind. This is the character in Rockstar who is so dumb that he doesn't understand what he himself is feeling. And what he wants to express, he cannot express. It's only in his songs and through the music that he can at least reach his own emotion. So that is something like I remember when we were making Rockstar, we were very emotionally charged. That must be an indication of something.